And a good morning to you. Welcome inside the bottom line here for a Monday morning. We're halfway through the month of September the 13th. You don't hear anything? Okay. If nobody calls in, it won't matter. I got something unplugged. I probably robbed a cable from it over the weekend. See anything? I've got it. I'm plugged into the same thing. I'm not sure. You don't need them. We ain't got no guests calling here. It'll be all right. There you go.
I can hear.
Attaboy. You can hear me. That's all that matters. You got on your earmuffs. Glad to have you with us this morning. Full Rembert sitting in with me. Juju, got a recorded segment I'll have Juju later on in the hour. And we're going to move. I talked to Juju about it this morning. Time changing, days getting shorter. Juju and I are going to start moving to Monday evenings at 6 o'clock.
Nice.
And that way he can get in studio with us, and folks will start watching as the time gets shorter as we get into it, kind of like we did last time. Richie, good morning. Milton, good morning. Let me start by doing the rundown. I did pretty good for Saturday in college. I think I was in third place, and then I absolutely stunk it up yesterday.
Yeah.
I missed some just gimmies, I thought, because who would have thought Green Bay would have been held to 3 points by New Orleans? I just didn't see that coming, and I missed some. I did miss a few what I thought were gimmies on Saturday as well. But let me get our picks pulled up here. I think we got 16 or 17 in the league that are playing. Right now, Brett Keever is number one, along with Randall David and Todd Drum. They're at 18 points.
Excellent. For
the week. Kay Mackey and David Keever are tied for second. Big Wes is in third at 16. I'm tied in fourth with a whole gaggle of people at 15 points. Monty is down there in the bottom, tied with another young man that I had the privilege of sitting here with today.
Absolutely.
You missed a pick or two?
I missed a couple.
Yeah.
Bad.
Yeah.
I didn't get the Tampa Bay one in, though. That was one, but it wouldn't have mattered.
Now, yesterday, the only two people that got that one right were the two diehards, just diehards.
That was me.
That would be you and Wesley, as you picked Pittsburgh. And I want to say, do we not have – I don't see Juju. He didn't get in here. I have to get on to him about that. I picked Buffalo. I really did. I thought that was a good one. Everybody missed the Green Bay except Cave Mackey. He picked New Orleans. I didn't see that one. Everybody but three missed the Miami-New England game. Stephen Lowe, Milton Sane, and Monty Mosteller picked Miami. Didn't see that one coming.
I would pick New England again the next time they play.
And then here's another one. San Francisco and Detroit. TJ was the only one that picked Detroit. I thought that was a gimme game. The other one, only a few people, handful, Brett, Randall, Todd, Stephen, and you picked Philadelphia. I didn't see that. I thought Philadelphia was a dumpster fire.
No, Jalen Hurts brings too much to the table for what
it's just early.
Got. No, I understand, and that's kind of what I was, going off of with that. But, obviously the rest of them weren't very
Minnesota and Cincinnati, I didn't see that one coming. Randall picked Cincinnati. Keever picked Cincinnati. Michael Powell, Cincinnati. TJ and Four picked Cincinnati. And then the other one, Stephen, Todd Herms, and Cabe and Todd and Brett picked the Chargers.
Yep.
I think that would have been a different ball game had Fitzmagic not went down.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And he went down early.
Based on he's playing, yeah. I mean, that.
And you don't have any control over that.
No. But, hey.
Tennessee and Arizona. That was another one. Everybody had Tennessee on that one. Tennessee, maybe I heard people talk about high hopes of Super Bowl.
Yeah, well, they've got some stuff that obviously they got to work out. But I think the first couple of 3 weeks of the season is just kind of a blind pick 'em anyway. I mean, you got your your staples, kind of like your Tampa Bays and your Kansas Cities. But I'm
Kansas
not.
City struggled a little bit with the Browns.
Yeah, but I'm not surprised that the Browns self-destructed. I mean, a guy went there and punched a coach. I mean, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And somebody said last night we were watching the Cleveland Clowns. I mean, it's the same thing over and over again. And I can't say it enough. The talent really doesn't matter. It's
maturity is so huge. Oh my God!
Why would you hit a coach on the sideline? Why would you do that? What could a coach possibly say to make you want to punch them right then? I mean, they're gonna
knowing what the end result's gonna be.
I mean, come on.
Yeah. No, I agree.
It doesn't mean that you're not worked up and hyped up and you're ready to play and you gotta, and all that. But at the same time, within your performance, there has to be discipline and focus. Now, I'm not casting stones at anybody. I mean, I've never punched a, coach or anything when I was a player or whatever. But I'm just saying that, come on, man, come on.
Todd said the Browns let him down. Stacy said the Bears stunk it up. I told you that Friday, Stacy.
Yeah.
The Bears, they're another dumpster fire. I'm sorry.
Well, I mean, they're always blaming it on one position. Which is what 95% of the people do. Oh, the quarterback this, the quarterback that. Stop. My thing is maybe stop and take a look at football for what it is. The quarterback position is not like in college. You can try to make it that way all you want, but the quarterback position in NFL is a position of distribution. You got guys that can run. I understand that. There's going to be 2 or 3 games that are going to be great, but the likelihood of all that being the way that things are going is not very high. It's wanted, but it's not very high.
Let me give you some more. Let me give you some upsets from the weekend. We weren't quite split on the Illinois-Virginia game. I took Illinois. A lot of folks took Virginia. Only Wesley and Todd Drum took Oregon over the mighty Buckeyes.
That was a good pick.
And that was a great game. I watched that one. That was a great game. We were kind of split on Pitt and Tennessee. I took Tennessee. I wasn't sure Pitt was ready. Nobody took South Florida. Everybody took Florida in that game. Kind of split on Air Force and Navy. TCU, the majority was picked there. We had one person. Wesley took Colorado over Texas A&M, and the Buffaloes almost made it happen. And I still want to say that Texas A&M is going to be that surprise team.
They will. They will. Again, it's first season. First couple 3 games, even in college football, with the exception of 2 schools, it's going to be a blind pick 'em until you really know what you got.
Mississippi State, NC State. I told you I was taking Mississippi State because I thought the 45 points from NC State was inflated the week before. NC State fell. The other big surprise, Texas was embarrassed. Texas was absolutely embarrassed. Arkansas was picked by Monty. He was the only one that got that one right.
Arkansas looked really good,
and they doubled them up.
They looked really good.
Texas, welcome to the SEC, but one of the bottom feeders. That's the bad part about it. That's not a power team in the SEC. They're maybe 3rd or 4th in the West. 5th.
relatively speaking, of course.
Washington and Michigan, everybody picked Michigan. Washington got upset the week before, dropped out of the top 25. BYU and Utah. Utah was ranked about 17th. They fell to BYU. I had picked Utah as well. And everybody except you missed the Southern Cal and the Cardinal, the Stanford game, and it wasn't even close. I mentioned to Juju when we recorded this morning that Clay Helton will not see the end of the season. Don't think he can dodge it this year because he's 0-2, and he was in the top 25, and now he's dropped out.
The whole style thing is, again, Stanford, you know what you got with the players that are there. And you know that, in big games, you can't count them out. It doesn't mean they're going to win them, but, they don't jump up and down, hoot and holler, look at me, look at me. They go out there and wear your butt out.
Well, there's a great analogy Joe gave. The Browns will always be the Browns. It's just like expecting any Atlanta sports team not to self-destruct. The Hawks, the Braves, the Falcons. Sometimes they're that blind squirrel that finds a nut, but other than that, they usually can't find a way to kind of fall apart.
Yeah.
Richie said learned two things from the Oregon-Ohio State game. Oregon didn't have their two best defensive players and still did a great job. I'm still not sure what constitutes a targeting call. Nobody is, Richie, so don't feel bad about that.
No, Richie's right. If it looks bad, we're going to call it.
That's right.
You know, it's like, well, it's what it's supposed to look like is what makes us call it.
Were you were at the JV game?
Yeah.
Early in the game,
That's a targeting call.
Did you see the call when Davin went down?
Yes.
Okay.
The kid, I was standing at the gate, all right, with popcorn in hand, talking to the police officer, and we could see directly across the field. The gate's about at the goal line, okay, off the track, right, and I could see directly in an angle the play developing, especially when the kid cut back. And I saw the kid from Shelby going up, and I saw Davin run this way, and I said, Davin's going to get crushed right here. You're supposed to lead with your hands first, and then contact can be made. But you got to lead with your hands. Hey, look, crushed him. Couldn't believe they didn't call it. I was screaming, get him out of here. They didn't call it.
From where I was sitting on the other side of the 50 at an angle and couldn't see it. I just love those kind of blocks. I can't help it, but it's changed so much on how you can do it, how many steps you got to give them, you got to know that they're coming, all those kind of things. But I didn't see how the actual block transformed.
It was awful.
Yeah.
It was awful. And, you know, the thing about it is, you know, you don't want to take football out of football.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, when somebody's defenseless and you're going for it, you need to be real careful because, you know, you could permanently damage somebody, you know, when they don't see it coming. Okay, it's like anything else in life. Sometimes we don't see it coming.
Yep.
It hurts us.
Yeah.
You know, and you say, well, kids need to be aware. You can't run and pursue someone like that and keep looking around.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And get to the ball. You can't.
You know, Link made a comment, I think it was on Friday, and honestly, what has become of targeting in my day was called spearing. And it was any time that you used the crown of the helmet as a weapon.
Right here, this part.
Now, I'm trying to remember which game it was, and this might be what Richie's referring to. There was a tackle where the defender had his head down and he buried it in the middle of this guy's back.
Mm-hmm.
To me, that's a targeting call. It doesn't have to be helmet to helmet.
Right, no, it doesn't.
And you know,
That's right.
spearing used to not be called until it was after the play. If somebody came in late with
Right,
their head
right,
down.
right.
But it should be, and it should be a clear call. Like I told you, we had a call 2 weeks ago when I was at Mooresville and Huff. We had a call where defender came in with his hands up, rushing the passer, and the ball was gone. He threw the ball, didn't get it blocked, and the two hit face mask. That should not be a helmet to helmet. Your head is up. You're not targeting that guy.
Yeah.
You know, you're trying to do what you're taught, which is up and try to block the pass.
It's
Should have been incidental. They called it targeting. I thought that was a wrong call.
Well, sometimes you have people that are looking for things to call instead of calling what they see. All right, that's the human nature part of football. That's why we have reviews now. You know, yes, the reviews to me are not so much that they miss something that happened, but they misinterpret what happened because they're looking for things that happen. And that's okay, too.
Joe said that was to Oregon-Ohio State, similar to what happened in the Sugar Bowl with, and I can't think of that kid's name, the linebacker from Clemson.
Yeah,
he's a intense competitor. I just don't like the way he plays. I think he gets a little too much out of control, and then he makes a shot like that and gets tossed, and he's no good to his team for three quarters. Those are the things that I don't like.
It's a fine line of what do you take out. Does he lose his edge by holding it back?
Yeah.
You know, is that worth
but here again, they're not going to call targeting if you see it.
Right.
It's when you lower that head.
And, you know, today, I say today, the last 20, 25 years, they've made helmets so comfortable that they turned football players into human missiles.
Yeah. Go back to leather.
Well, you know, Coach Brown used to say, honey, you want to take concussions out of the game, take the helmets off.
Yeah.
Everybody start tackling the shoulder again.
That's right.
They might not have an ear, or a couple of eyes
Go
left.
Go leather.
No, but I'm
Like
all
I used to
kidding. I'm being funny, but all kidding aside, I mean that's a very good point. Is don't use your head. That's what the whole point was. Is you really need to try to.
Coach Beam used to when I was playing over 40 years ago. Coach Beam used to talk when he was teaching about tackling and stuff. It was always keep the head up so you can see what you're hitting.
Right.
And he used to say this, and there may be truth to this. I don't know. He used to always say, you're not going to break your neck like this. You break your neck like this because of the compression, because of the muscles and stuff in the neck. You're not going to do as much damage that way. And that's why it was taught that way 45 years ago. And that philosophy should have never changed. However, it did. Yeah, you're exactly right, Todd. Game of the week was Christ School at Maiden. I'm going to take a break. We get back. Ford can enlighten us on that. Did not attend that game. But from everything that I understood, it was a fantastic game right here in Maiden.
Yes, it was.
Untangling your headphones, finding the right remote, saying goodbye to your favorite shirt that hasn't fit in 10 years. Why are simple things sometimes so complicated? Thankfully, with Auto Owners, insurance doesn't have to be one of them. Auto Owners works with independent agents who live in your community and answer when you call, so you can worry about more important things, like finding a new favorite shirt. That's simple human sense.
Call Mooney Insurance in Maiden or East Lincoln Insurance in Denver or visit mooneyinsurance.com.
Times convenience stores are more than convenient. They're your neighborhood store, your store. With locations in Lincoln, Catawba, Gaston, Iredell, and Mecklenburg counties, there's one near you. Times convenience stores have the right items at the right price, from snacks, cold drinks, and light meals from the grill, and there's always a special to save you time and money. Times has what you need. Times convenience stores, there's one near you. Regardless of where you're going, there's one on your way. Remember, there's always time to stop by Times. Have you thought about when you would like to retire? One of your major assets is planning for retirement is time, and you lose a little of it each day. The longer you wait to start accumulating capital for retirement, the harder it's going to be. How should you plan for retirement? Start by calculating approximately how much capital you will need at retirement, then estimate how much you will have to put away each year. Finally, carefully choose the investments in which you will invest. Stifel Nicholas can assist you. Call Ford Rembert today at 828-624-7300. Stifel Nicholas, member SIPC, and the New York Stock Exchange. First Federal Savings Bank has been serving Lincoln County since 1940. And as it has been from the beginning, customer service is a priority to First Federal Savings Bank. They want to get to know you by name. First Federal Savings Bank has the convenience, the products, and the services that the larger banks have, but with hometown people that you see throughout your community. Stop in and visit one of their 4 convenient locations and see what First Federal Savings Bank has to offer you. Member FDIC, an equal housing lender.
Whether it's a sit-down meal or a call-in for the drive-thru, Brookwood Cafe and Catering is the answer. A variety of meats, vegetables, and desserts cooked daily, or a hot sandwich from the grill, they have what you're looking for to satisfy your taste buds. If you need catering from 5 to 500, Brookwood has you covered as well. Stop by Brookwood Cafe and Catering at 202 Providence Mill Road in Maiden. Don't forget breakfast daily till 11 a.m. Open Tuesday 6 a.m. to 2 p.m., Wednesday through Saturday 6 a.m. till 8 p.m., and Sunday from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. Call 828-428-8944 to place your order today.
Covenant Church began as a vision of just over 100 people in 1984. Since then, Covenant Church has grown and currently located at 2168 Gastonia Highway in Lincoln. The Sunday schedule includes early morning worship at 8:30, Sunday school at 9:45, and morning worship at 10:45. Their ministries extend beyond Sunday. Visit their website at www.covenantchurch.church to see all they have to offer, and better yet, stop by and see for yourself. Covenant Church may be just what you're looking for a new church home.
If you ask around, you'll find Burke Mortuary has a reputation for excellence and commitment to value. They've built a reputation of trust for more than 35 years. Burke Mortuary is proud to offer personal attention, meaningful tributes, and the area's most affordable prices. They're also proud to offer you beautiful, state-of-the-art facilities. It's the perfect place to honor your loved one. So when choosing a funeral home, the choice is easy. Choose Burke Mortuary with locations in Maiden and Newton.
In the best of times, no one is more deserving of every opportunity, encouragement, and support than the youth in our communities. Parents, teachers, coaches, and sponsors struggle to stretch their budgets to continue help. Communities need a team effort. Times Oil Corporation, a longtime member of the community, established the Times Educational Alliance Mission, or Team Foundation. Since 2011, over $125,000 in grants have been donated in the community. Times Oil and the Team Foundation are proud to be community partners.
Welcome back. Glad to have you here this morning. Nice morning, 61 degrees here this morning. 2 days, today and tomorrow, they're calling for it to be around 90. And 90 is will be the first time we've hit the 90s in September. And hopefully the only 2 days we hit 90s in September. It's supposed to cool back down. Well, when I say cool back down, it'll cool back down to the mid-80s, but I'll take that. The weekend was great. Great night for football on Friday night. Yeah. That was thrown together kind of at the last minute.
It was.
Give us a little rundown on the game.
Yeah, so we're practicing Wednesday, and we're about through with practice on Wednesday. Now, this is Monroe, who we scheduled because St. Stephen's was in quarantine for 10, 11, whatever, how many ever days it was. And we couldn't play them the week earlier. So we got them in, our open week. We decided to try to play Monroe. Everything was great. We prepped for them. And then they call us on Wednesday at about 5 o'clock and say, we're quarantined. So Coach Byrne gets on the phone. He's on, several teams. He calls. And then we called Raven Gap out of Georgia, thinking about going there. Very good team, very good program. We thought about going there. And then Christ School was looking for a game. They're out of Asheville. When I coached at Madison, when I was the head football coach at Madison back in the early 2000s, we played Christ School, so I was familiar with them. They are a very, 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 very talented school. They've won and competed in a few state championships over the last few years for the independent schools.
I'm trying to remember. Christ School and Asheville School, both of them used to have pretty good programs.
They do.
I want to say Asheville School is like completely independent, though. Christ School, aren't they in a conference?
They are.
Okay.
And so we string that together. So I had basically up until kickoff, I was still watching film on them.
Wow.
And trying to figure out what I was going to do because they got guys that are reclassified, which is fine. I mean, you want to play a game and all this, but I'm sitting there going, holy cow, we're playing the Chicago Bears again. Salisbury 2.0. They were really, really good.
I heard that, but they weren't the size, were they?
Yeah.
Were they?
Yeah.
Really?
With the exception of 2 players, yes. They were enormous. They were much bigger up front than what we saw on film, but the team that they played out of Kentucky that beat them was huge. Now that we go back and look at it, they were enormous. But Christ School had 2 very, very, very good quarterbacks, both Division I players. I thought the second kid was much better. Well, I say much better. I thought the second kid was just as effective and could run the ball too, playing quarterback. They had a wide receiver that's just as fast as their number 2 is as fast as ours, Culliver, just as fast as our guy, Chris Culliver, right? They had great team speed. They had a scat back, number 20.
What kind of numbers did they have?
I think they had around 40.
Well, that's pretty good.
Yeah, Heath Schuler's one of their coaches. Right. So, we're going up against guys that, number 1, have reclassified. Again, that's fine. 2, if they hadn't reclassified, it's like I got a good friend of mine that coaches at AC Reynolds, Brian Craig. He's a baseball coach every year. He's offense coordinator, defense coordinator, LR guy. Played at LR, played baseball at LR, great football guy. He told me, he said, we lost our best player to them last year. Said he went reclassified, when all this COVID stuff hit. Is their best lineman. I believe it. They were really, really, really good. And, we scored, they scored. We took the ball down, drove it, they scored, or we scored. this first series or whatever it was, first score, when they scored to match us, our two DBs broke the pass up, collided. Okay, ball went straight. They had three receivers in the same place. Dude catches it, gone. 65 yards. Like, you got to be kidding. Okay.
So offense did not score.
So the offense. So he did on that play. Mm-hmm. They didn't drive the ball on us all night. And then the next touchdown was about a 30-yard scramble in the pocket on the 30-yard line. He goes back. He's about the 45. That was the second quarterback that's in the game that's so good. He launches one to the end zone. They come down with it. Okay, fine. But our kids, my thing is, Laney, that is the best football game I have ever been involved in as a player or coach. And this is 29 years of football for me.
Let me ask you a question.
Best
now,
I've ever.
I know from a coaching perspective it's a little bit different, but I had the problem, and this goes from how things have changed over the year. When I was in high school, we watched film. We watched our film. We watched film of who we were playing, but I always call it nobody cheated back then. Everybody was going to be where they were at. Nobody shifted around. You didn't see 14 different defenses. 45 years ago, if you were a 5'2", a 6'2", split middle, you knew where people were going to be.
Yeah.
And then that has changed over the years. So it got to the point to where when I was coaching, it really wasn't effective for the kids to watch the upcoming team because they would try to get in their mind. I can remember kids coming to the sideline and say, Coach, they're not where you said they would be.
Yeah.
I said, I didn't say they would be there. That's why everybody went zone blocking.
Right.
But you block areas because you don't know how they're going to line up. So I say all that. This was a last-minute thing, not a ton of preparation for this team.
No.
But what it does is it forces your kids to just play responsibility and read what's going on the field instead of trying to anticipate what they think is coming.
Well,
good or bad?
No, 100% right. And I think technology's had the biggest play in the changing of things, and then it becomes a psychological part of things. I mean, I do it defensively. I'll throw a wrinkle or two in a game that has nothing to do with our overall scheme.
I had some offensive plays, like especially running the wing tee, that you would break the pattern because defenses are taught to follow keys.
Right. No, that's right. That's what I do. I mean, so from a defensive standpoint, just because of technology and I know who we're going against the next week, I may do something that's completely unorthodox on a couple of plays just to make them stop and worry about something that I'm probably not going to be doing. Because preparation's everything.
Yes.
The game is won Monday through Wednesday,
That's
basically,
correct.
not on Friday night.
That's
people
correct.
can say, you got to go out and play with your heart. Well, of course you do. But that's relative. That's assuming all other things. You got to do the same thing when you go to war, right? You better give it all you got.
You get one
the
chance.
Preparation for it is what leads to the opportunity, not the other way around.
And it's about the preparation is more about, to me, now this is to me, from a defensive standpoint, you do pick up some tendencies that teams do. You'll see certain packages. I thought a great compliment that somebody made about Appalachian in their first game, not this past week, but their first game was, I'll tell you who it was Donnie Kiefer. Donnie said, so how many formations can you get into and run the same play? And that's what Appalachia did.
Right.
Because a lot of coordinators, that's what they do. They look at formations, look for keys and those kind of things, or you look for certain things. But you have to teach them to play and think and react and not assume based on something they've been told.
That's right.
So sometimes I think that the film work you do with the team, I was not as big on film work with the team as I was as film work with coaches. Because I didn't think a lot of kids at that age could understand and tell the difference between I'm trying to show you possibilities, not what you can expect. They couldn't.
You're right.
They couldn't
Lanny.
change that. They couldn't get that through their mind.
You're 100% right. And what I teach our kids and try to, when I'm talking to them about, watching film from a defensive standpoint, is the one thing that never changes is human behavior. Mm-hmm. You can modify it, but you are who you are. A zebra doesn't lose its stripes, is the old saying. So what we do is we study behavioral tendencies. That's what I do. I don't study plays. Mm-hmm. I study behavioral tendencies. Last year when we played North Lincoln and East Lincoln, I was able to pick up things behaviorally that their linemen were doing so I could manipulate my blitzes according to that. I didn't care so much about the play as taking advantage of certain segments within the play itself and how things develop, okay, and then assigning responsibilities to the defensive call, all right? We play defensive football offensively. Right? We're on the offensive. Mm-hmm. We're not an absorption, bend but don't break. We hear that a lot, and we may have to apply it some on certain drives, but we're an offensive style defense, right? And so the way that you're able to in combat, determine, the outcome, determine what's happening in that play and how you're going to influence it is by studying the behavior of your opponent. That's all I do is study behavior of other people. Right?
See, I try to teach my kids on defense, especially my linemen. There are certain keys. You have some players that are very good about not tipping their hand, and when I say that, you can pick it up and you can teach defensive linemen color of fingertips, pressure on the fingertips. That tells me if they're coming towards me, they're pulling, they're blast blocking. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
You'll see kids lean.
Depth.
You'll see kids lean. Do they change their split? Is it wider this time?
That's what it is.
But those are things that have nothing to do with a specific play, but a tendency of that player can maybe tip the hand. This is one of my greatest stories with my roommate and Jamie Pope. Maiden came to West Lincoln, and we played our senior year, and I made one of the greatest plays ever. I put him down for a loss on a quick pitch, okay? Not because I had exceptional speed, but my tackle told me he was pulling for the quick pitch. I could see the keys. So as soon as he took off, I went ahead and established my angle and met him.
Yeah.
When he got the pitch.
Absolutely.
It wasn't a great play on mine. It was his own teammate gave away what was coming.
It's behavioral, right? It's behavioral. Yeah. And that's where, the manipulation occurs in scheming, because our linebackers now are getting to the point where they're so efficient with studying, and even our front line, they can almost predict what play's coming, and they'll call out the two plays that are coming based on how the hand's on the ground or the lean or the depth of the lineman. So what we're good enough to do is anticipate at this point, and I say good enough to do it because we practice these things. All right, we just don't practice plays. We practice behavior. Okay, that's the difference, I think, with our guys. Okay, they have come to realization that they are smart enough, that they are looking into the game for what it is and playing a game within the game. Okay, now do they make mistakes? Absolutely, yeah, and that's where we have to refine and keep getting better. But the anticipation of what's coming is, that's part of the winning the battle as well.
Sure it is. Yeah. Tim Smith, good morning. There's a lot of things that you can teach, and it's about teaching, and I relate it to education. I never wanted, and one of the reasons I don't like end of course tests, I get on my soapbox here just a little bit. Yeah. I don't want to teach for regurgitation. I want to teach for knowledge that you can take with you, that you can apply all the time. And the same thing in coaching. I don't want to try to school you on this week. I want to school you to make you a better player regardless of who shows up, especially now with the way things change and you don't know who you're going to play on Friday night.
No, that's true.
Who's on the schedule this week?
Eastburg.
Okay.
Yes, and that's my old stomping grounds.
And you going up there?
We're going up there, and Laney, I graduated from there. Okay, and I have not coached in that stadium since I graduated. So about 2 weeks ago, all the emotion of playing Cavalier football when it was 4A, huge crowds. If you've never been to Eastburg Stadium,
it's one of the greatest stadiums around. I think
it's incredible. We used to
built in the holler.
Yeah, and it used to be filled up on both sides, and people would stand in the horseshoe up top. It was incredible on Friday nights. There's a lot of personal emotion, and just memories coming back of the experiences I had there that I hope our players at Maiden one day can look back on and have those same feelings of emotion It's
tough.
It's a big night.
It's tough going home.
It's a big night, and they're a very, very good football team. They are big. They're strong. They push the line. We got to figure out how to. We got to figure out how to do it.
Yeah, and well, it's just it's tough going back there. Brandon said he loved playing at East Burke when he was at AC.
Yeah.
But you've got some schools that are sort of starting to fall behind. Now, is this conference?
Yeah.
Okay, so conference play gets underway, and then that's where it really gets serious as far as
and then we play West
not
Lincoln
missing games
week.
and those type things. Right now, I think there's 3 undefeated conference teams. You, Bunker, and West. Is that not?
Okay,
that
right. Sounds right. Yeah,
and that's where that's the top of that heap in my eyes. I think Maiden is the clear-cut favorite, and I think the second place will be a shootout between West Lincoln and Bunker Hill.
Bunker Hill and West are I don't know if we're clear-cut or not. I mean, every week we get picked against, by bigger opponents and things. I know the kids have played well and pulled them out. But when we start playing teams that are our size and in our conference, I think it's going to be even tighter. And I don't know, Lanny. We have a lot of work to do. We've got a lot of things to clean up.
Mm-hmm.
The one good thing that we do have is the attitude of the kids. We don't have anybody in the huddle saying, I want to get my stats or
what
this
makes
is
a
my
difference.
night. Well, they're a good group of kids. And what I mean by that is they don't care who gets the ball. They just want the ball in the end zone, and we're on defense. They want to strike, and they want to strike hard. People say football is dead. You come watch us play.
Yeah.
Watch West Lincoln play. Watch Bunker Hill. Football is not dead.
There's still some good
football
ones going on.
Football is not dead.
Mm-mm. I got to take a break. When we come back, we got my segment I had with Juju earlier this morning. I appreciate you coming in on late notice. No show tomorrow. I've got to take a relative to a doctor's appointment early, but be back on Wednesday. Another programming reminder: we'll move Monday mornings. We'll move to Monday night next week. Juju will be in. We'll be in at 6 o'clock. Take a time out. Juju's up next.
Untangling your headphones, finding the right remote, saying goodbye to your favorite shirt that hasn't fit in 10 years. Why are simple things sometimes so complicated? Thankfully, with auto owners, insurance doesn't have to be one of them. Auto Owners works with independent agents who live in your community and answer when you call, so you can worry about more important things, like finding a new favorite shirt. That's simple human sense.
Call Mooney Insurance in Maiden or East Lincoln Insurance in Denver or visit MooneyInsurance.com.
Times convenience stores are more than convenient. They're your neighborhood store, your store. With locations in Lincoln, Catawba, Gaston, Iredell, and Mecklenburg counties, there's one near you. Times convenience stores have the right items at the right price, from snacks, cold drinks, and light meals from the grill, and there's always a special to save you time and money. Times has what you need. Times convenience stores, there's one near you. Regardless of where you're going, there's one on your way. Remember, there's always time to stop by Times. Have you thought about when you would like to retire? One of your major assets is planning for retirement is time, and you lose a little of it each day. The longer you wait to start accumulating capital for retirement, the harder it's going to be. How should you plan for retirement? Start by calculating approximately how much capital you will need at retirement, then estimate how much you will have to put away each year. Finally, carefully choose the investments in which you will invest. Stifel Nicholas can assist you. Call 4Rembert today at 828-624-7300. Stifel Nicholas, member SIPC, and the New York Stock Exchange.
First Federal Savings Bank has been serving Lincoln County since 1940. And as it has been from the beginning, customer service is a priority to First Federal Savings Bank. They want to get to know you by name. First Federal Savings Bank has the convenience, the products, and the services that the larger banks have, but with hometown people that you see throughout your community. Stop in and visit one of their 4 convenient locations and see what First Federal Savings Bank has to offer you. Member FDIC, an equal housing lender.
Whether it's a sit-down meal or a call-in for the drive-thru, Brookwood Cafe and Catering is the answer. A variety of meats, vegetables, and desserts cooked daily, or a hot sandwich from the grill, they have what you're looking for to satisfy your taste buds. If you need catering from 5 to 500, Brookwood has you covered as well. Stop by Brookwood Cafe and Catering at 202 Providence Mill Road in Maiden. Don't forget breakfast daily till 11 a.m. Open Tuesday 6 a.m. to 2 p.m., Wednesday through Saturday 6 a.m. till 8 p.m., and Sunday from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. Call 828-428-8944 to place your order today.
Covenant Church began as a vision of just over 100 people in 1984. Since then, Covenant Church has grown and currently located at 2168 Gastonia Highway in Lincoln. The Sunday schedule includes early morning worship at 8:30, Sunday school at 9:45, and morning worship at 10:45. Their ministries extend beyond Sunday. Visit their website at www.covenantchurch.church to see all they have to offer, and better yet, stop by and see for yourself. Covenant Church may be just what you're looking for a new church home.
If you ask around, you'll find Burke Mortuary has a reputation for excellence and commitment to value. They've built a reputation of trust for more than 35 years. Burke Mortuary is proud to offer personal attention, meaningful tributes, and the area's most affordable prices. They're also proud to offer you beautiful, state-of-the-art facilities. It's the perfect place to honor your loved one. So when choosing a funeral home, the choice is easy. Choose Burke Mortuary with locations in Maiden and Newton.
In the best of times, no one is more deserving of every opportunity, encouragement, and support than the youth in our communities. Parents, teachers, coaches, and sponsors struggle to stretch their budgets to continue help. Communities need a team effort. Times Oil Corporation, a longtime member of the community, established the Times Educational Alliance Mission, or Team Foundation. Since 2011, over $125,000 in grants have been donated in the community. Times Oil and the Team Foundation are proud to be community partners.
And welcome back. Glad to have you here on a Monday morning. It could be a little bit warmer than we've had in the past. Couple of 90-degree days. Be the first time we've hit 90 in the month of September, and I hope it's the last two times we hit 90 in the month of September. Let me go to the phone, bring our main man on, Juju Phillips. Juju, thanks for joining me this morning.
Lanny, a pleasant Monday morning to you after what was a really glorious college football and pro football weekend, right?
Some surprising college football, and I got just blown away on my pro football picks yesterday. Just some really huge surprises. Who would have thought Green Bay would have been held to 3 points?
Yeah. You would think that, it could have been a lot closer game. It just got kind of away from them. And I think this goes back to, Lanny, some of these teams that struggled yesterday in the NFL are teams that, while we were expecting them to be very good this year, the lack of a lot of practice during the preseason or game time hurt those teams, and I think it hurt Green Bay a lot.
The Carolina Panthers come away with a win, but don't get too excited. That's a really bad New York Jets team.
They did, and they had to really hold on to win that game, right? Even though Sam Darnold played a pretty good game, threw for almost 300 yards, and the offense was pretty good, the Panthers still had to struggle and hold on to win that football game. And you're right, the Jets do not have a lot of talent on that roster, and the Panthers held on to win that game. They have another home game this week, but that's always good to get your first win of the season on opening day.
We'll talk a little college football here. Alabama still remains number one, played Mercer, beat Mercer 48-14, but Mercer and former Lenore coach Drew Cronick does a really good job with that ball team, and I think that's a team that's going to be making some noise down in FCS.
In the Southern Conference, I think you're right. He has now his first full season under his belt after leaving Lenore Ryan. And had a fall season last year. They played some good teams. They had another spring season. So I think they played 11 or 12 games, Lanny, last year for the Mercer Bears. And so I think it's going to take a while, or at least it took a little bit of a while for that offense that they run. It's kind of a hybrid version of a wishbone and a wing tee, a lot of motions and different things like that. And even head coach Nick Saban, in his post-game press conference on Saturday, mentioned that offense of Mercer and Drew Cronick was very difficult to prepare for. And they did move the football. They did get some first downs. They don't have, obviously, the kind of talent that Alabama has. But when you talk about the Southern Conference, I think Mercer's going to be right up there challenging for a conference championship in what Drew Cronick's, first or second season. And Lanny, if you go back to when he was coaching at Lenore Ryan, and in the, 2 years he was head coach, I would say there was only maybe one game, and that would have been the Valdosta State playoff game in 2018 that the offense that Drew Cronick runs struggled. And that was one game out of, 28 games that the Bears played over 2 years. The offense is that good, and he's brought that to Mercer, and I would expect them to be very good in the Southern Conference this year.
It just does a great job from a coaching standpoint overall, I think. Some other games of some surprise on Saturday. I was surprised. Oregon with the big upset over Ohio State. The Pac-12 could be back with teams like Oregon making a little noise. They beat Ohio State 35-28. I know it's a money game. I know it's an opportunity for the kids at Cullowhee to go to Oklahoma, out to Norman, and play in a big setting. But 76-0 is nothing you want to take home and kind of swallow. So I'm still not a huge fan of that. I'm glad they get the money and the opportunity, but that's just hard to deal with going down the road. Texas A&M, how about the struggle they had with Colorado? And I've said Texas A&M is going to be the team to be the surprise this year.
There's no business that Colorado should have stayed in that football game. I mean, it was close throughout. They don't have the talent. Colorado doesn't have the talent even close to Texas A&M. I don't know if they were not prepared to play that game, but to score barely in the double digits and hold on to win that football game, again, it's so early in the college football season, but you would have expected Texas A&M to really run it up against Colorado. That was simply not the case. I think they just got outplayed and outcoached. Colorado did against Texas A&M, but I'm sure they go back to the drawing board and they get into the SEC. Maybe the kids will be a little bit more focused and ready to play those opponents.
Iowa State did not disappoint. Number 10, Iowa did pull the win out, 27-17 over Iowa State. This is one, I always ask you about those close games. Who does it say more about? Now, this one was number 8, Notre Dame, struggling with a 32-29 win over Toledo. I think it says more about Notre Dame. Notre Dame struggled for 2 weeks in a row now.
They have, and they had to struggle against Toledo and score in the final, minute?
Yep.
To win that game after Toledo had scored, under 2 minutes to go, and they went down the field and threw a touchdown pass. New quarterback. They got some weapons Notre Dame does on offense. They lost a lot of guys to the NFL over the last couple of years, and especially this past year. I don't know if they have the weapons that they used to have. But there's no reason why a team like Notre Dame should struggle against a MAC school that's been in the middle of the road MAC school and then barely win that football game. Again, maybe the kids weren't focused. They weren't interested in playing until it got down to the final few minutes, and they had to pull it out. But yeah, that's a little bit concerning if you're a Notre Dame fan.
The other one, how about the Cardinal just laying it to Southern Cal, 42-28? I'm saying that Clay Helton doesn't see the end of the season.
Well, those rumors come up every year, don't they, Lanny?
But when you're 0-2 and it's early like this, there were more expectations as they were in the top 20.
Yeah, they were. Who do you have taking over? Do you have an offensive coordinator take over? You can't find the right guy that you want in the middle of the season, and that's a tough deal. When you look at the Pac-12, and you have UCLA and Oregon right now, maybe outside, maybe Arizona State. Those three teams are the head and shoulders, it appears, above everybody else in the Pac-12. And USC, Clay Helton has heard this thing before, and he's been able to survive. But 0-2 in a regular season that we're having this year, not the COVID season, he may not make it to homecoming, whenever that is.
The other huge upset, what about Arkansas over Texas, 40-21, just when folks think Texas is ready to make a rise again? Wow, that was kind of embarrassing to be getting beat by the Razorbacks.
Well, that's a rival, and it's hard to determine how the kids are going to play because Arkansas and Texas go way back, and that's a rivalry, and welcome to the SEC for Texas. But Arkansas was, again, they're a middle-of-the-road team in the SEC, and they laid a licking right on Texas over the weekend. And I'm sure that if you're an Arkansas fan or Texas fan, them coming into the SEC in the future, that's going to renew that rivalry even more.
a couple of other games, not surprising games. One of the, BYU beating Utah 26-17, knocking Utah out of the top 25. App State went down to Miami and played Miami as well as you could play, falling 25-23, but a really good game.
Yeah, Lanny, you broke up. Go ahead and mention that again. You just broke up right at the end. I didn't hear you.
Miami out in App State. That was a great game. Don't think it disappointed. It took all Miami had to beat App State 25-23.
Yeah, for me, I'm not so sure. Miami's defense is pretty good. I'm not so sure Miami's offense is that good. Even though they have Derek King and he's a good scrambling quarterback, App State pretty much held him in check. But they came up with App did that one big play, the pass play across the middle late in the game. But to me, App needs to score a little bit more points. For them to get that close, it's really a monumental type thing for that program. But when they get into their conference play, they're going to have to get some more offense, and they have struggled a bit offensively. And, give them a lot of credit. I think App's defense came to play, and the offense was not able to come up with some of the big throws. And I'm not a big fan when you throw the ball and just dink and dunk. I'm more of a fan of the vertical passing offense if you're going to do that, and it's got to come off of play-action passes. And App didn't have a strong running game against Miami, so the play-action pass didn't work as well. But, that return on the special teams, on the kickoff, lit a fire for the Mountaineers and kept them in the game the entire way. So hats off to Appalachian for going down to Miami and nearly pulling another big upset.
Two picks that I lost out on in our pick'em contest. I picked Tennessee to beat Pitt. Pitt comes away 41-34 over Tennessee. I picked ECU and another former Lenoir-Rhyne coach, Mike Houston, to pull the big upset, if you call it that, over an SEC team, South Carolina. And South Carolina snuck another one in with a graduate assistant quarterback, 20-17.
Well, let me address first, ECU and East Carolina. They jumped out to an early lead and could not hold it. I'm not so sure, East Carolina and now at 0-2. They had a chance to win that football game. Give South Carolina credit for coming back and holding on. The Mountaineers right now don't appear, not the Mountaineers, but the Pirates don't appear to have a strong defense, Lanny, and their offensive line giving up some, sacks on pressures on the quarterback. But, the other upset that you mentioned, what other game did you just mention?
It was Pitt and Tennessee.
Oh, yeah, Pitt. Pitt's a team that has about 14 or 15, I'd call super seniors, including their quarterback who came back for another year. They are a team, even though they had a couple of guys go to the NFL on their defensive line, they put all kind of pressure on Tennessee's quarterback. And for them to go down there and win at Tennessee is big for Pitt. Because they are a veteran team. They are loaded with upperclassmen. I would expect them to maybe give Carolina a run in the ACC division as they go up against some of those schools, except for Clemson. And they've given Clemson some fits over the last few years. Pitt might be a team to be reckoning with as you look down the road, because they're off to a nice start at 2-0 with the team that is very veteran, Lanny, especially at some of the key positions.
Yep. One just to mention in passing, Kentucky over Missouri. Drinkwitz maybe should have stayed where he was at. He's not. If you can't beat Kentucky in the SEC, you're really going to struggle as Mizzou falls again. Here's, I guess, one of the biggest upsets of the weekend. It was an unranked team, but it's a team that we thought was going to claw back. How about Jacksonville State over Florida State, 20-17?
That's an FCS school.
I know.
Jacksonville State.
Oh, I know.
They made the playoffs in the FCS the last couple of years, and they threw a Hail Mary pass. Well, it wasn't even a Hail Mary. It was just a deep post pattern late in the game, and one-on-one coverage, and the guy was wide open. He got a nice block downfield, and the wide receiver took it into the end zone. But that can't happen. I don't care. You tackle the guy, you interfere with him, you cannot get beat on a Hail Mary long pass late in the game when a guy, wide receiver, is running scot-free down the middle of the field late in the football game with a chance to win. That is very disappointing if you're a Florida State fan after they had that close loss against Notre Dame the week before. You thought maybe they were coming back, and then they lose for a Jacksonville State program that's an FCS school. I would say maybe a notch or two, maybe a notch below what James Madison is, also in the FCS ranks. So hats off to Jacksonville State. That's a big win to go down there and beat a Florida State team in the ACC. Maybe they're not ready for prime time yet, Lanny, talking about Florida State.
And it's one that the ACC really needs to give them some credibility on the national side. What else you got going on in your world, sir?
You know, I followed Division II football over the weekend. There were some upsets in the top 5, and you would expect with Lenore Ryan being idle, had a bye week this week. The Bears open conference play. We'll talk more about that later this week, but the Bears open conference play at Newberry on Saturday night. Lenore Ryan expected to move up probably to 4th or likely 5th when the NCAA Division II rankings come out later today, Lanny. So, I mean, that's one thing. A couple of the small schools in Division II, Barton, started their program last year. They got their first ever win. They beat Erskine. And North Greenville, which I've been advocating for years, that should have been in the South Atlantic Conference, they got a win on the road against Newberry, who Lenore Ryan plays this coming week. So those are some of the SAC things going on. The Bears right now at 1-0. They open the conference season. All the teams in the SAC open up conference season this coming weekend, and Lenore Ryan expected to move up to 5th in the national rankings.
Just a note in passing, a programming note. We're going to move Monday's program, Monday morning, to Monday evening, 6 o'clock, beginning next week. So Juju can come in studio. We can do a full hour together. Miss doing that, especially with time changes coming on. Folks will be back in the house. So just put that on your calendar beginning next Monday. There'll be no Monday morning program. May do a little update, but Juju and I will be back on Monday nights at 6 o'clock as we'll get that kicked off next week. Anything else, sir? Any high school surprises to you?
West Lincoln won. It was a lot closer game than I'm trying to remember than I thought. I thought maybe West would win that game a little bit bigger. I'm still surprised that there have been so many cancellations.
Yep.
And it's going to make it hard for
That's not going to end.
And it's going to make it harder for those schools to get any kind of rhythm as they want to get back into their season and maybe make a push for the playoffs.
It's kind of like on Friday, there were 2 teams that canceled out on Friday at the last minute, and the 2 teams that did not cancel wound up playing each other just so they could get a game in.
Yeah. And how about Maiden winning an overtime game over Christ School? Is that the first time those schools have ever played each other?
I want to say yes. I can't remember back in my Highland days if I played Christ School or Asheville School. Played one of those, but those schools can be quite good at times. That they kind of have that roller coaster cycle. Sometimes they're really good, sometimes they're not so good.
You almost want to be a fly on the wall, don't you, Lanny, about how these athletic directors get on the phone and schedule these games at the last minute.
Yeah. Well, they just look for the cancellations and see if somebody's interested in playing. And usually, it's you tell me, you want me to come there, you want to come here, what you want to do? Because kids need to play. I mean, they need to play to keep this thing going.
Yeah.
Juju Phillips, we appreciate it, sir. Look forward to catching up with you again on Wednesday and then getting cranked up next Monday night with our Monday night show. Have a good day, sir. We'll talk to you again Wednesday.
All right, Lanny. Thank you, my friend.
All right, so we'll take a time out and be back with more here on The Bottom Line.